Earth has been rocked by some truly massive explosions over the years. Although our nuclear weapons are capable of shaking this planet to its core, the most extreme blasts this world has ever seen were not man-made. In fact, they were 100% natural. This shows that while Mother Nature provides us with everything we need, she is also capable of serious destruction, to the point where entire species are completely wiped out. This is definitely something to keep in mind, especially as humanity seems more confident than ever before about its technology and its ability to shape the planet as it sees fit. But what were the largest explosions that the Earth has ever experienced? Let's find out.
$51 million people entering another
surveillance camera capturing the
unidentified flying object.
lockdowns and mass testing.
today that the world is going to end.
The Tunguska event was a grave warning for humanity. On June 30th of 1908, a 12-megaton explosion occurred in Siberia, flattening a forest the size of Tokyo. Fortunately, this explosion occurred in the middle of nowhere, and only a few people died. In fact, very few people actually saw what happened, and were not even sure what caused this insane explosion. The most widely accepted theory, however, is that this was some kind of asteroid impact. If this theory is correct, the Tunguska event is the largest impact event in humanity's recorded history. The strange thing is that scientists have failed to find an impact crater. This has led some to believe that the explosion was some kind of meteor airburst, which is when a meteor would explode in midair, rather than hitting the ground. The Tunguska meteoroid would have been around 65 meters in diameter, which is about the same size as a Boeing 747's wingspan. Although this might sound considerable, the truth is that the Earth has been struck by much larger meteors in the past. The Tunguska event is simply the largest meteor impact humanity has ever seen, and we've only been on this planet for a minuscule amount of time compared to the history of life on Earth. The eruption of Mount Tambora in 1815 was the largest volcanic eruption in recorded human history. On April 5th of that year, a massive explosion rocked the region, and it was heard more than 2,000 kilometers away on the island of Sumatra. Next, the surrounding islands were showered in volcanic ash. The explosion was so intense that Mount Tambora lost its entire top half, going from 14,000 feet to about 9,000 feet high, causing a massive tsunami that rocked nearby islands. It earned a ranking of 7 on the Volcanic Explosivity Index, and was approximately 10 times bigger than the Krakatoa eruption in 1883. 71,000 people were killed due to this event, including those who died from the explosion and the latter famine. The effects on the rest of the globe were tremendous, and 1816 became known as the year without summer, because the sun was effectively blocked out by a layer of ash in the atmosphere. Extremely cold temperatures swept across the northern hemisphere, and most crops across North America were completely ruined. Some believe the volcano also caused a typhus epidemic in Europe. But if you think that was bad, remember that there have been bigger volcanic eruptions in Earth's history. Humans just weren't around to witness them. As you probably already know, something terrible killed almost everything on the planet around 65 million years ago. This was the KT extinction event, and it wiped out the dinosaurs once and for all. Nothing weighing more than 55 pounds survived. Although we're not quite sure what caused this, One of the most popular theories is the impact hypothesis. This theory states that a massive comet or asteroid struck the planet, causing a massive explosion with lingering effects. Scientists have discovered that during this period of time, there were high levels of iridium in the atmosphere. Proponents of the impact hypothesis also point to the Chicxulub crater in the Gulf of Mexico, one of the biggest impact craters on the planet. If the KT extinction event was caused by an asteroid, it would have been about 9 miles wide. This absolutely dwarfs the Tunguska meteor. And remember, that comet wiped out an area the size of Tokyo. But the explosion was only one aspect of the KT extinction event. The aftermath would have been equally horrific for all animal life. The oceans were spiked with acid, and the sun was blocked out by something akin to a nuclear winter. It's difficult to comprehend just how insane this explosion was, but one thing's for sure: it was bigger than any nuclear warhead we've ever created. In fact, it was more than 1 billion times more powerful than the nuke dropped on Hiroshima. But although the KT extinction event was terrible, we probably wouldn't be here if it wasn't for this massive asteroid. Why? Because mammals allegedly rose up from the ashes of dinosaurs, paving the way for us to emerge as the dominant species on Earth. Remember when we said that the Chicxulub crater was one of the biggest impact craters on the planet? Well, it's not the biggest. That honor goes to the VREDEFORT crater in South Africa. While Chicxulub is roughly 100 miles in diameter, VREDEFORT is almost double that. And as you might have guessed, the asteroid that created this crater could have been the largest to ever strike the planet. However, this event occurred billions of years ago, during a time when life was extremely primitive, so there were no dinosaurs or early mammals around to witness its effects. The asteroid itself would have been over 10 miles wide, and it would have created an extinction-level event on par with the Chicxulub impact. How bad was it? Because this crater is so old, we don't really know too much about it. In addition, life on Earth back then was so primitive, it happened so long ago that there's no fossil evidence for a mass extinction event, simply because hard-bodied animals hadn't evolved yet. In the year 79 AD, Mount Vesuvius erupted in southern Italy. At this point in time, the Romans reigned supreme over the Mediterranean and beyond, and this event shook the empire to its core. The explosion was about 100,000 times more powerful than the nuclear weapons dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and the volcano ejected clouds of rock fragments and gases that reached 33 kilometers into the atmosphere. As bad as it was, Vesuvius was only ranked a 5 on the Volcanic Explosivity Index, making it less powerful than the aforementioned eruption of Mount Tambora. Nevertheless, it might have caused more death and destruction because it was located at the heart of a vibrant ancient empire, the largest of its time. 2 of Rome's cities, Herculaneum and Pompeii, were completely wiped out. The inhabitants of these cities were killed almost instantly by temperatures of over 300 degrees Celsius as the pyroclastic surge swept over them. When Pompeii was excavated, the outlines of bodies were found frozen in time, curled up in the fetal position. Researchers state that although these people died quickly, it wasn't exactly a pleasant way to go. Their organs and blood were instantly vaporized by the intense heat, and at least one person's brain was turned to glass. Because the Romans were such meticulous record keepers, we actually have a few eyewitness accounts of the event. The most notable example is Pliny the Younger, who described the volcanic plume as having the shape of a gigantic pine tree that spread itself out at the top into branches. Pliny's uncle, who commanded a Roman fleet, then attempted a rescue operation, sailing straight into the danger zone. His ship was pelted with cinders and superheated rock. His crew begged him to turn back, but he told them that fortnight favors the bold and continued onward. Although they landed near the volcano, the mission proved to be a failure. Pliny the Elder eventually collapsed and died, perhaps due to inhaling the poisonous sulfuric air. Most of his crew managed to escape to tell the tale. In any case, the volcanic eruption would have been on par with a heavy nuclear barrage, and it gives us an idea of what might happen if one of our own major cities were ever hit by a nuke. You never know when we might experience another one of these natural explosions. After all, there are plenty of volcanoes throughout the world. Some of us live right next to dormant mountain peaks that might one day explode with tremendous force. And of course, the Earth could be struck by an extinction-level asteroid at some point in the future. If modern-day science is correct, our planet is constantly flying through a minefield of these asteroids, and it's really only a matter of time until another impact occurs. Until then, all we can do is live life as best as possible and make the most of the time we are given.